All right. So we got to talk about this, man. Donald Trump. Hold on. And usually I like to stay out of politics. Like I really don't like talk about politics like that. But I just want to talk about this one thing because I honestly can relate to what's being talked about in this particular thing. It says Trump signs order requiring truck drivers to speak English proficiently. Okay. It says President Donald Trump has signed executive order related to immigration, including one that requires English language proficiency for commercial motor drivers such as truckers, according to ABC 7. And I'm gonna tell you something, man. And I know some people ain't gonna agree with this. I get that. Anytime you talk about political, religion, all that other stuff, man, people are just not going to agree. And there's always going to be somebody who disagrees with you. But this is what I'm going to say here. From reading the comments and hearing what people are saying, because I like to see both sides of the argument. One of the arguments people are saying is that's wrong because America doesn't have an official language, right? This is pretty much the one country, that's why it's called the United States, where it's like a melting pot, especially if you go to places like New York or whatever like that. It's a melting pot. There's so many different types of people. There's so many different people you're going to run into. This, that, and the third, which is cool. But this is the problem. Majority of the people here in the United States, this is America. If you think America or American, you think English speaking. That's just a fact. No matter, whatever you may feel, that's irrelevant. That is what it is. If you go to another country where you go to Thailand, people are going to speak whatever the language is over there in Thailand. You go to Japan, you're not going to expect for people to speak English. You're going to expect them to speak Japanese. It is what it is. If I go to Japan and say, "Hey, I want to get a job," I get the job, and then every single customer that comes in there, I'm not able to help them because I don't speak Japanese. It's crazy. It's ludicrous. But that's what happens here in the US. And I'm telling you, there's so many times I go to Walmart, I've been to different grocery stores, I go to gas stations, whatever. I'm telling you, man, well, not even gas stations a couple times, but grocery stores, talking to people on the call services, all that, we have a big problem here in the US where the customer service is lacking because the people who are the employees cannot communicate with the customer. And that's a big problem. I was in Walmart the other day. I literally was in there for Walmart is already big as it is. It's a big store. Sometimes you can't find help because people just aren't there, whether it's at the customer service desk, electronics, grocery store. It got to the point where I almost felt like I wanted to pretend like I was stealing something just to get help because I'm looking at every aisle for help. I'm either catching somebody going to and from break, or I'm getting somebody who's I don't, and that is frustrating. That is when you have somebody working on the floor, they can barely read the products to you, they can't speak the language to you. And my question is this: how did you get the job? How? It doesn't make sense to me. If you have somebody who is bilingual and they get hired because they're bilingual, then I understand 100%. And a lot of times you probably get a manager who's bilingual, who can speak English and then another language. They hire on the individual who can only speak the other language that's not English, hire them on. But it's bad for the customers because we can't get the proper help that we need in an predominantly English speaking society. That just is what it is. And it's not fair. It's not. You got a lot of people that get turned away because they say they're overqualified or they have a record or whatever. And you have individuals who can't even communicate the language of this country and they're still able to get jobs. That's not fair. It's not. It's just not fair. You have to be able to service the people of the country that you're in. But here in America, people get away with it time and time again. And it's frustrating, man. But let's look at some of the comments. Let's see, because I want to hear the things that people are saying that's more than likely going against what I'm saying. But let's go ahead. Someone says, get your trucker license immediately if you don't have a career. Hey, I heard trucking's pretty big, man. Trucking is a very lucrative career that I've heard from a lot of different individuals. Getting a CDL is one way that a lot of guys are able to support their families or whatnot. They're on the road for long times. I couldn't do it. I've driven up and down this country many a times, and being in an 18 wheeler, I just can't do it. 70% of the truck drivers gonna be gone. Hey, it is what it is. We're just gonna have to get more truckers from elsewhere, But that's no excuse. When you have people who are delivering things, they can't. Like, I'm gonna give you a prime example. I was working at a job, and I had an individual who pulled up. It was probably like 3, 4 in the morning. I was securing a property, and a gentleman pulls up. He worked with Amazon, and he could not. Like, we're trying to do the translator back and forth because he cannot speak the language. I'm trying my best to help him, trying to show him how the Amazon, they have these big lockers where you could take the Amazon box to the Amazon lockers, scan it, then a locker will pop open. You put the box inside the locker, close it. And this guy, we just could not. It got to the point where he just wanted to leave the package with me. And I'm like, my guy, like, we got to figure out where this box goes for this facility. But the gentleman cannot speak the language and communicate with me. And I'm like, how did you get the job? Because sometimes you're going to have to talk to the front desk. You might have to talk to the receptionist. You might have to talk to the assistant at the front. How is this happening? It just makes no sense that people come here and they don't have to learn the language to work here. You want to be here? Fine. You want to start your own business? Fine. But if you're going to get American jobs, you should be able to speak the language of an American job so you can communicate with the American people. But hey, that's just my opinion. We're going to keep going. Somebody says, I'm a truck driver. This is a W for real. Someone says, there goes half the truck drivers. When you're doing business in America, 80% or more should speak English. I've been mean mugged, had eyes rolled, disrespected because I don't understand their language. I went to Walmart last night just looking for mayonnaise, and all I got was speak no English. Exactly. This is what I'm talking about. Could you imagine someone went to China, someone went to Japan, someone went to, let's say, I don't know, man, Portugal, or let's say someone went to Brazil, where they predominantly, I believe, speak Portuguese. You go to the Dominican Republic or whatever, and I get mad at you because you don't speak my language. When I see people and tourists do that in other countries, it is disgusting to me because I'm like, dude, you are in their country. And you know what people always say when Americans travel to other countries, because I've traveled to like 7 different countries so far, one of the number one things that they say is, well, the least you could do is just attempt to learn the language, know a little bit about the language. Right? That's just when you're being a tourist. So let alone getting a job, let alone getting hired for a position. And you don't know the language at all? That's a problem. America is so lenient with the way they let everyone come here and make money, don't know the language. It blows my mind because other countries are not having that. You're not doing that in Russia. You're not doing that in Ukraine. You're not doing that in these other countries, man. But here, it's just like, it's just a free-for-all. And people are getting fed up. I know I get fed up with it, 100%. Someone said, why would they need to speak English if the language of the roads is universal? Because where are these truckers driving to? They're going to have to communicate with somebody when they're dropping something off. They're going to have to communicate if something happens alongside of the road. There was somebody in one of these comments that I saw that said a guy ran into them, crashed into them, and the police and the person they got crashed into could not communicate with the guy because he couldn't speak English. They're trying to find somebody, they're trying to get somebody on, hey, you bilingual, It's like, man, we can't communicate. I don't know, man. That stuff is frustrating. It's very, very frustrating. Let's see. South Florida is in shambles. He trying to stop trafficking, I believe. Nah, I wouldn't put that on everybody that doesn't speak the language. Some of the truck drivers who speak English can barely be understood. Hey, but they still can bear. I'd rather have somebody I barely understand, like then they don't understand at all, because then we're definitely not getting anywhere. That's 100%. This is so racist. And people play the race card. It's not racist to ask people to know the language to be able to get a job in the country that they're coming to. That's not racist at all. Learn the language of the place you want to do business in. Period. That just is what it is. You want to work for an American speaking company, you're going to have to learn English to be able to get that job. That just is what it is. Let's see. Me, no English, no CDL. Primary language in America is English. You should have to know it proficiently if you're going to be driving commercial vehicles in this country. And this is my thing. I'm not saying that you gotta, know how to sound like some absolutely astute individual that knows expeditiously like T.I. You don't have to know all that, but man, to be able to basically communicate, it goes a long way. And number one, it helps make it easier for the customers. The customers are the one that's not benefiting from this. So when you have an individual who doesn't know the language yet, they're getting paid. Then that company has somebody to work the job for them. But the customers suffer because we cannot communicate with people who don't speak our language. Like everywhere we go, and it happens so much, man. You're here in the United States, you're born and raised here in the US. Everywhere you go, hey, it's your language. That's the way it's supposed to be because you're in America. But then slowly but surely, you go here, oh, I didn't know English. You go here, nah, I know English. Like, wait a minute, what the hell? Am I not in America? Am I not in my home country? This is my home country. So I want my home country to sound like my home country, to be able to do business. Go to the grocery store. And this is the thing. I could see if you went into an establishment where it was their culture, their business. Okay, cool. I get that because they're patronizing to the people that they're patronizing to. I won't expect, to go to a rap concert and expect everybody to speak that anime lingo like I speak. I know all the anime and cartoons and stuff. I get that because I'm in a hip hop crowd. Some may not understand it, but they're patronizing the hip hop. What I'm saying is when you go to an American establishment, predominantly English, everything about Walmart, Target, wherever is English, and then you go there and the workers are not English speaking, that's what makes it frustrating. Because all my years that I've been alive, when I go to Walmart, if I go to Kroger, if I go to Publix, whatever, hey, it's an English speaking experience. We're in America. When half the employees can't speak the language, it drives you bonkers because now you've changed up the entire experience of you going to this store and being able to get the help that you need and received in a timely manner. You ain't got to go find this. And for one, you can't find an employee. Then when you do find an employee after 15, 20 minutes, then they can't even have a conversation with you. It is mind boggling, man. Absolutely. And for somebody to say that that's racist, you really might want to look up the definition of what racism is. Let's see. People that don't know about logistics and truck drivers need to be quiet. Oh, they can be quiet all they want to. But when it's time to make that delivery, we need to understand what the heck you're saying. Get your trucker license immediately if you don't have a career. Okay, that's what somebody said already. It won't let me load. Let me see. Why won't it let me load anymore? Okay, there it go. There it go. There it go. Said Latinos for Trump, you chose him. Let's see what truckers, the ports are closing. Oh yeah, listen, eventually it's going to get to the point where we're going to be having the automated trucks. I believe, and people are like, oh, that's not going to happen. That's not going to happen anytime soon. Listen, I believe that they're making underground. It's either going to be underground roads or it's going to be roads that have their own separate highways for these automatic trucks, man. Their own entrances, their own roads. They're not going to worry about us eventually. That's the thing. Everybody's worried about this person, that person. It's going to be the AI and the robots eventually anyway. But in the meantime, I guarantee those robots are going to be able to speak English. I guarantee you they're going to be able to speak every language. But most importantly, they're going to be able to speak English. Guaranteed. Say it's a shame. Like, we don't have Puerto Ricans who are citizens that don't speak English. You can be a citizen all you want to, but if you get a job and you cannot communicate with the people that are doing business with the job, that's a problem. Then go into entrepreneurship, open up your own business, and only speak to people that can speak your language. You can still be a citizen, but coming into an America, coming into America and working in American establishments and not being able to communicate with his customers is diabolical, man. I still don't understand how you got the job. Like, it's one thing if you're bilingual, I would get it. You can speak Spanish, you can speak Italian, you can speak Portuguese, you can speak whatever. But not knowing English is crazy to me. How did you get the job? How did you listen to how did you understand when they have the what do you call that, man? Not the training modules, but when they have the oh my god, what is the word? What is the word? Oh, but yeah, any type of training, any type of training videos that you need to watch, how are you understanding what's being said in that training video? Do they have a whole nother video that's all in Espanol? I'm just asking. Because if it's in a whole nother video that's completely in Portuguese, they got a whole nother video that's completely in Brazil. Like, come on, man. You're in America. You need to learn the language. That just is what it is. We need that for the answering services too. Oh my God. Yo, look, one of the worst things that can happen, you get on that phone and you're talking to somebody and the accent is so thick, you can't I'm saying 5, they're saying, did you say 3? I'm like, they're not understanding me, and I'm going back and forth. You got the robot on one hand that messes up. If you hear something in the background, say, oh, I'm sorry. Did you say, oh, I'm sorry? Did you say, oh, I'm sorry? Then you get the person on the line, and then when you talk to the person, they can barely speak the language. It's like, it's just the governor. It is like, bro, listen, I don't agree with everything Trump does. He got a lot of stuff that I don't like. He got some things I do like. But this right here, making it mandatory for people to, man, the basics, man. You want to work here, you need to know the language. You need to know the language. If I went to Japan and they say, hey, listen, you can get a job here, but you're going to need to know Japanese. Why would I have an issue with that? How can I say that that's racist coming to their country saying that? Okay, I get it. I need to learn Japanese, so I got some work to do. It just is what it is. So you got something what y'all think in the comments. I'm just here for the comments. You got a lot of people that have mixed emotions and feelings about this, but me as a customer, I get sick and tired of it, man. I get sick and tired of not being able to get the help that I need when I'm trying to buy a product or get information on a product or try to find something in a store or whatever, or when I'm on the phone talking about insurance and I can't communicate with the employee so I can get what I need done for the day. It is infuriating at times. But y'all let me know what y'all think in the comments. Talk to you later.